Order. The Pledge of Allegiance this morning will be led by Jessica Loy, Caroline Loy, and Lily Fehrbach from Swigert International School in Denver.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll do 1 second. Let's take one picture. Members, can you remain standing? We're going to have the singing of the national anthem from the Greeley Chorale.
Were so
Representative Young.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's with great pride and it's an honor to present the Greeley Chorale. Founded in 1964, the chorale has a reputation for musical excellence not only throughout Colorado, but around the world. Starting in 1985, the chorale has embarked on international concert tours every few years, including performances in London, Beijing, Shanghai, Sydney, Brisbane, Vienna, Edinburgh, Rome, and Athens. Just last year, the group's 8th international concert tour consisted of concerts in the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. The upcoming 2014-2015 season is the 50th anniversary season of this world-renowned group. The chorale is by audition-only community chorus, comprised of people from all walks of life, conducted by Dr. Galen Darrow of the University of Northern Colorado College of Performing and Visual Arts, and now with 100+ voices, the Greeley Chorale is proud of its heritage of musical excellence and is pleased to perform before the Colorado lawmakers today. In addition to the national anthem that you just heard, the chorale is singing The Girl I Left Behind Me, part of the Celtic repertoire they performed in Ireland, and the Colorado Trail, a salute to our awe-inspiring state. So without further ado, let's continue the performance. Thank you.
Laurel
Representative Young.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm proud to call these folks my friends. I appreciate them taking time to come down and entertain us here at the Capitol. And if I may, Mr. Speaker, I'd also like to identify and acknowledge my wife, Dr. Mary Young, back in the back of the room. So.
Thank you, Representative Young, and thank you, Corral, for joining us today. Mr. Kohler, please take the roll.
Representatives Becker, Buck, Buckner, Conti, Corum, Court, Del Grosso. You only need those. Okay. Dorr, Duran, Everett, Exum, Fields, Representative Fields, Fisher, Foote, Garcia, Gardner, Giroux, Janal, Hamner, Holbert, Hullinghorst, Humphrey, Joshi, Kagan, Kraft-Tharp, Labuda, Landgraf, Lawrence, Lebsock, Lee, Representative Lee, May, McCann, McLaughlin, McNulty, Melton, Mitch Bush, Moreno, Murray, Navarro, Nordberg, Pabon, Peniston, Pedersen, Primavera, Priola, Rankin, Rosenthal, Representative Rosenthal, Ryden, Sane, Salazar, Schaefer, Representative Schaefer, Scott, Singer, Sonnenberg, Stevens, Swam, Zabo, Tyler, Vigil, Waller, Williams, Wilson, Wright, Young, Speaker Ferrandino.
With 65 members present, a quorum, of course, is present. Representative Buckner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the reading of the Journal of April the 22nd
22nd, he was right.
be dispensed with and that it be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You've heard the boring motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Announcements and introductions. Representative Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Everyone, listen up. I wanted to call your attention to the fact that today is Colorado Denim Day. Many of you remembered. But what is this all about, really? Well, Colorado Denim Day is a way of recognizing and promoting the idea of freedom from sexual violence. You need to know, just some quick facts, that 1 in 2 women and 1 in 4 men in Colorado have experienced sexually violent crimes in their lifetime. Persons with disabilities are sexually assaulted at rates more than twice the rate of other persons in the United States. And an estimated 20 to 25% of women will be victims of rape or attempted rape during college. And it goes on and on. So the Colorado Coalition Against Sexual Assault.
Hold on one sec, Representative Gardner. Members, I can't even hear Representative Gardner, and on this I actually want to hear Representative Gardner. So can we keep the side conversations down or take them off the floor? Thank you. Please continue, Representative Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, members, the origin of Denim Day is this, that in 1997 in Rome, an 18-year-old girl was raped by her 45-year-old cab driver, driving instructor, who was later convicted and sentenced, but he appealed. He was successful on his appeal because the chief judge noted that because the victim wore tight jeans, she must have assisted her perpetrator in her sexual assault, and therefore he was not guilty. The women, now this is important, female legislators, the women of the Italian parliament were so outraged that they went out on the equivalent of their West Steps the next day in denim to call attention to this, and this was the beginning of the worldwide Denim Day movement to protest against misconceptions that surround sexual assault, of which there are many. They persist here in Colorado and the United States, but also in countries such as India. And Colorado Denim Day is our way of calling attention. For those of you who wore denim today, the boxes are here on either side at the desk for $5. Don't feel limited to that. And if you didn't wear denim and feel really guilty, you can put in $10. But in any case, when someone asks you today about denim, don't miss the opportunity to talk to them about why we're wearing denim today. Thank you, members. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the time. Thank you.
Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And colleagues, the stars align because we have Denim Day at the Capitol. We're a little casual. And it's Colorado Sportsman's Day at the Capitol, sponsored by the Colorado Legislative Sportsman's Caucus and Rural Caucus. The good news is that the Sportsman's Day at the Capitol won't cost you any money. The displays are down on the first floor. For those of you that missed out on the coffee and donuts this morning before the session started, there's probably still a few left down there, but there won't be now that I've announced it. I just wanted to make sure that you all realize that Colorado sportsmen and women spend upwards of $1.3 billion, that's with a B, on hunting, fishing, and recreational shooting each year. And that's critical for maintaining the wildlife and the outdoors that we so greatly love. So I would ask that you please welcome to the chamber those who are have their displays down on the first floor. Up here in the gallery are the backcountry hunters and anglers, Cabela's, Colorado Mule Deer Association, Colorado Outfitters Association, Colorado State Muzzleloaders, Colorado Trappers Association, Colorado Youth Outdoors, Eagle Claw, Hunt Data, Jody Stemler Consulting, Mule Deer Foundation, National Wildlife Federation, National Wild Turkey Federation, SCI, Denver Chapter, Trout Unlimited, and the U.S. Forest Service. So welcome them to the chamber, if you would, please. Welcome to today. The schedule for today, coffee and donuts are on first floor with the first floor displays. Lunch will be on the east side of the Capitol. The world-famous hot dogs have been brought back to the Capitol, so that will take place on the east side. And at 1:30 in the Supreme Court chambers, the display folks, the ones who brought their programs, will be presenting in the Supreme Court chambers. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Ryden.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members, I want you to welcome two of our RTD directors who are here today, Tom Tobiasen and Claudia Folksa.
Representative Hamner. And the Capitol Choir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unfortunately, we don't have our chorale here, but we do have our choir, our in-house choir, to wish Representative Scott, who forgot to wear his jeans today, a very happy birthday. Are we ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Representative Scott. Happy birthday to you.
Representative Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members, I didn't forget to wear my jeans today. I'm wearing jeans in spirit. I just didn't happen to have a clean pair of jeans that I brought down with me on Sunday when I came down. So thank you, Representative Gardner, for doing this. But there is another important birthday that we need to celebrate today, and I hope you'll all go out and celebrate the 450th birthday of William Shakespeare today. April 23rd, 1564. The Bard was born in Avon, and as you know, became the world's greatest poet and playwright that we've ever known. So help me celebrate William Shakespeare's birthday today.
Representative Melton. Oh, Representative Giroux.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, there are a certain portion of us that believe that Shakespeare did not do the writing. It was actually Edward de Vere. So if you don't want to celebrate, you don't have to. I'm a de Vere fan.
We can't get through anything in this chamber without some controversy. Representative Melton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And just a reminder for people, the the American United for Change is sponsoring the Raise the Minimum Wage bus tour, which is pulling into Denver today, and will be outside by the Obelisk at noon for a special rally.
Representative Kagan.
Members, you are all public servants, and we in Colorado appreciate your public service, but there are many forms of public service that can be rendered in this.
Kagan. Members, can I have you're doing the tribute?
Yeah.
Members, can I have your attention for a tribute? Thank you. Representative Kagan.
As I was saying, members, there are many forms of public service, not only as legislator, and one of the most underrated, underappreciated, overworked forms of public service is that of city manager. City managers take on such a massive burden of work. They're responsible for massive budgets, massive projects, and in a very big way for the welfare of the citizens of the cities that they preside over. And they get little thanks, little praise, little applause, but just serve the public of the city day in, day out. It is a very high form of public service that should be appreciated more, and it is my pleasure this morning to acknowledge the public service of one of the great city managers who has long served Colorado, Mr. Gary Sears, who will be retiring after 42 years of public service. A measure of his accomplishments can be shown by a few examples. He took his master's in public administration and used those skills for the benefit of Colorado generally for 43 years. He's past president of the Colorado Municipal League. He serves, despite his busy life as currently the city manager of Englewood, he serves as an adjunct professor helping young people learn what public service is all about. He was responsible for the Englewood Transit-Oriented Project, the Englewood Light Rail TOD project. Englewood has more than $500 million in new development projects in the community right now, which Mr. Sears has been integrally involved in the success of. He has presided over a $114 million expansion of the Littleton Englewood Wastewater Treatment Plant, which has been named one of the top 5 facilities of the year by a prestigious industry magazine. He has been involved in not only transportation, wastewater treatment, economic development. He has been involved integrally involved, taking a leadership position in every aspect of Englewood life. And after 17 years, I believe it is 17 years, serving Englewood, he is now retiring, and I would like to join with all of you in giving him our thanks. Those are some examples of his achievements, but there is a measure of respect that Mr. Sears has enjoyed in Englewood most recently, and that measure of respect can be seen from the dignitaries from Englewood who are here, the mayor pro tem, the city council, members of the Englewood City Council, the police chief of the city council, the human resources directors, the parks and recreation director, the court administrator, the finance director. They've all taken time out of their day to come here and help us pay tribute to Gary Sears. Also, a measure of his love he is born. His wife, his daughter are here as well. And I am so proud to be able to present on behalf of the General Assembly of the State of Colorado, in thanks for his many years of service to Englewood and other parts of Colorado, selfless service, professional service, public service, I am pleased to present this tribute to Mr. Gary Sears.
Thank you, Representative Kagan, and thank you, Mr. Sears, for all your years of public service. Further announcements or introductions? Seeing none, reports of committees of reference.
The Committee on Appropriations, after consideration on the merits, committee recommends following House Bill 1066 be amended as follows, and House Bill to be referred to the Committee for recommendation. House Bill 1332 be amended as follows, and House Bill to be referred to the Committee for recommendation. House Bill 1352 be amended as follows, and House Bill to be referred to the Committee for recommendation. House Bill 1377 be amended as follows, and House Bill to be referred to the Committee on Legislative Council for recommendation. House Bill 1384 be referred to the Committee for recommendation. Senate Bill 1 be referred to the Committee for recommendation. Senate Bill 8 and 29 and 117 be referred to the Committee for recommendation. Senate Bill 125 be amended as follows, and House Bill to be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 129 be referred to the Committee for recommendation. Senate Bill 150 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 189 be referred to the Committee of the Whole for recommendation. The Committee on Health Insurance and Environment, after consideration on the merits, committee recommends following. House Bill 1380 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. Senate Bill 50 be referred favorably to the Committee on Legislative Council. Senate Bill 99 be amended as follows, and House Bill to be referred to the Committee on Finance with favorable recommendation. The Committee on Public Health Care and Human Services, after consideration on the merits, committee recommends following. House Bill 1369 be amended as follows, and House Bill to be referred to the Committee on Finance with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1372 be referred to the Committee on favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 144 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. Senate Bill 130 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the following bills be placed on special orders for consideration today, April 23rd at 9:40, and the bills are House Bill 1383, House Bill 1381, HCR 1002, House Bill 1332, House Bill 1066, House Bill 1352, House Bill 1384, House Bill 1372, and Senate Bills 117, 29, 1, 150, 129, 8, and 189.
Seeing no objection, the bills listed by the Majority Leader will be placed on the special orders calendar for today. We will proceed to special orders. Representative McCann. Seeing no objection, the House resolves itself in the committee hold for consideration of special orders. Representative McCann will take the chair.
Is ready? The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader, and the Cope rule will be relaxed. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1383.
House Bill 1383 by Representative Williams, also Senators Talktrop and Ulibarri, concerning the required number of physicians that must be provided to an injured employee for selection for treating physician and workers' compensation cases.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I move House Bill 1383.
All right. Representative Williams, tell us about House Bill 1383.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, yesterday we heard House Bill 1383 in the Business Committee, and what I want to share with you is what House Bill 1383 covers. What the current statute says, we did not change anything in our current statute. What House Bill 1383 does is it only expands the choice for injured workers. 1383 increases doctors' choice by 100%. Workers in most parts of the states will now have 4 doctors assigned to them after the initial incident. They will choose one of the 4, and if they decide to make a one-time change within the first 90 days that is now already authorized in statute, this will be able to choose from the remaining physicians on their original designated list. This is a significant increase in doctors' choice for your constituents. House Bill 1383 does not increase costs or delay return to work. 1383 will not delay the return to work to their jobs. NCCI, which is the industry group for compensation carriers, has completed their analysis and believe that the impact will be negligible. I think that's very important for you to understand. It will not increase costs for our carriers or employers. And lastly, the bill protects exemptions for rural employers. It's going to expand the exemptions in rural Colorado to ensure that insurers and the small communities will not have to assign a level of doctor choice that cannot be achieved due to lack of available doctors in their area. The current law stipulates that if there are fewer than 4 physicians willing to treat injured workers 30 miles from the employer's place of business, then employers and insurers may only assign 1 physician to the injured worker. House Bill 1383 adds a second tier to this rule exemption by stipulating if there are more than 3 and fewer than 9 physicians willing to treat injured workers, then the employer's insurers may only assign 2 physicians to the injured workers. Now, this provision that is in most cases in rural Colorado, employers are required to do more than what they're already required to do in current law. House Bill 1383 came about because I heard from clients and I heard from workers' comp advocates that the current choice of 2 doctors was insufficient and that some employers were using this to their advantage to the detriment of injured workers. I also heard from employers that they liked the current system and they didn't want to change anything. So through months of negotiations and very productive conversations, we were able to forge this compromise. I think it's important for you to know that Casey supports House Bill 1383. The Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce supports House Bill 1383. The Colorado Competitive Council supports House Bill 1383. Pinnacle Assurance is neutral, and the Colorado AFL-CIO and WCEA support House Bill 1383. And members, I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion of House Bill 1383? Representative, Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Williams no longer being on the Business Committee, I wasn't able to be there for the testimony yesterday. But negligible to me, when they say it's going to be a negligible impact, means that it could be an impact. We really can't figure it out. It might be small. But even any impact at all to workers' comp prices, we now enjoy some of the lowest workers' comp insurance rates in the country, which is a plus, considering there's a bunch of other detriments to businesses being successful in Colorado. At least one of the things we can hold up to them is when you employ people, our workers' comp rates are relatively low, and that maybe helps to offset some of the other higher costs that we have. But my question is, was there a lot of testimony in committee yesterday to show that, gosh, there's this big rash of problems that are out there, and only having 2 doctors now, there's all these people that are being harmed, and so they've been able to show case after case after case where only having 2 doctors is somehow causing this big problem? Or is it all just kind of a theoretical problem that, well, only having 2 doctors could potentially cause trouble? And I guess I'm just, what's the premise? I mean, I have not heard that there was any problem at all with the workers' comp and how it was working, so I guess I'm trying to figure out where we're going with this.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Minority Leader. And you're right. Colorado has some of the lowest rates and one of the best workers' compensation systems in the country. And we acknowledge that. Currently, what we've had is, again, I've had clients and we've had some of the work comp advocates talk to the fact that if they're not receiving proper care, if they don't feel like they're getting better, that it would be a better situation if they were able to have a broader choice of doctors. And I agree with you. We have a good system. The system is not broken. We were looking to make improvements to a system. And as I shared with you, it doesn't change the current statute. And I would think that as an employer yourself, who probably carries workman's compensation insurance, I think that your workers would probably, and all of our constituents and those who own businesses, if our employees had a little bit more choice in regards to injured workers, that I think that's a positive thing. You discussed if there was a lot of statistics that were provided, and there was not a lot of statistics provided yesterday. We asked that question. Members of your caucus asked that question. And for those who testified in opposition, they were not able to give us some of those statistics in regards to doctor's choice. And so we had a lot of positive support for this bill, and we believe that the doctor's choice is going to improve the current system, and that is going to be better for our injured workers.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1383? Seeing none, the question before us, Madam Minority Leader.
Whatever I am. Thank you, Madam Chair. I've been called worse, so thank you for that. Folks, like Representative Williams stated, yesterday we didn't get too many answers on some of the questions that we asked. And that leads me to believe, is this a solution in search of a problem? When I've talked to some of the business owners that I know in the state, they have said that it's a very low amount of people that do actually get referred to workman's comp. 1% of their workforce is the average of what they told me, and that they've seemed to have great outcomes with that these people are, getting healed to the best degree where they can come back to work, do a great job at work. So I don't want this just to be a solution that we had to work out because if there was another bill ran, it would, be worse than this and that type of thing. That's not what we're here to do. Another thing that kind of I didn't get an answer to, I asked several questions and didn't get an answer to also, is how they measure. The crux of this was that We need more choice in doctors because people aren't getting fully healed. So I asked how that was measured. How do you measure if someone is fully healed, ready to go back to work? Because if you have, for instance, you sprain your ankle on the job, it's kind of a two-way street. You have the doctor and you have the patient. And the doctor has a duty to provide